Good Tevach, Shavua Tov. To continue with last week's story, so the Baal Shem Tov was able to take this dibuk out of this woman, and the dibuk turned out it was a soul of somebody who used to live in that town in Kitov and did not want to be known who he was, although Baal Shem Tov knew who he had been in life, because many people in the town knew who he was, even the story that was told by the son-in-law of Rav Alexander Shuchat, the Sofer of the Baal Shem Tov. Alexander Shuchat himself had known this person. So whatever, the Baal Shem Tov dedicated the time to learn Torah, to dedicate Shiurim, to elevate the soul and to bring him back to where he belongs. So he left the woman never to come back to hunt anyone, and did so in good terms. Later, there was a Jew who worked as a tax collector. He was not an accountant, he was like an IRS worker. He was wealthy enough out of his job, and he hired the Baal Shem Tov to be melamed for his children. The man offered the Baal Shem Tov, he has a property, he has a house, but the house was known to have certain certain spirits that haunt its house, some impure spirits. There was some story about this house, and therefore nobody wanted to live in it. So the Baal Shem Tov accepted. He had, a free room on board, and did some of his yichudim, that he would mention the name of Hashem and connect to the unity of Hashem through some tankabano, some Kabbalistic practice. And through doing this, the house became clean. The Chitzonim stopped bothering and left. And the Baal Shem Tov had a decent place at the time where he could live. So they would be quiet, they stopped bothering people. Then there was another story. This is like a few connected stories that Rav Alexander Shuchat is telling when the Baal Shem Tov is, begins to be known. There was a time when there was a drought, and there was no rain, and in the town in Kitov there were Jews and there were non-Jews, and the non-Jews went out in the street to do a procession with the images, whatever, and nothing happened. The town is still in a drought. And so the Jews did the prayers and did a day of atonement, special fasts and prayers and crying, and still no rain. A non-Jew came to ask the Baal Shem Tov, why are the Jews making so much noise today? They're wailing and they're making all this noise. And the Baal Shem Tov said they are asking heaven for rain. And then the tax collector tells the Baal Shem Tov that this non-Jew is laughing, that the Jews are making their prayers as if they were more important. If we already went out and did a procession with all the images of our saints, what makes you think that the Jews will be hurt? And so the Baal Shem Tov said it's going to rain, and started raining. It's a point here. Hashem helps and hears our prayers, but it was to make a point. This is the Jewish prayers that are being heard. Then the Baal Shem Tov moved to the town of Tlust, and now calls that town by its name. And he also became a melamed, a teacher for children. Now, his means were very limited. He was not able to gather minyan in his house. But he would have a few people in his house, and they would do the prayers there. He was poorly dressed. He had a tuzlik, whatever this short garment is on top, made of wool, something that apparently the poor people wore. His shoes had holes in them, and you could see the toes through them. And he would go to the mikvah in the morning, even in the coldest day of the winter, in the month of Teves. Teves just finished. Now in Shvat here in New York, we just lived like the coldest of the day. Last night I was trembling. It makes me think. However, in these days, to go into the mikvah in the middle of the ice, it was such a sacrifice. Today, our sacrifice when we go to the warm, hot mikvahs is to come out of it. It's so hot, whatever. So the Baal Shem Tov had such a mysterious nefesh. He would go to the mikvah every morning before his prayers. And when he would be doing his prayers, he would sweat thick drops of sweat, thick as kernels of Polish wheat. So it says how he would be. Then people with different ailments were coming to the Baal Shem Tov, and he didn't want to receive them until he wasn't yet of the age where he was allowed to practice the holy names to heal people, until he's at least 36. Until somebody brought a person who was mad, either a woman or a man or a woman who had gone mad, and they were asking the Baal Shem Tov to do something, and the Baal Shem Tov calculated that was the evening when he would become 36, the 18th of Elul. And so the Baal Shem Tov accepted and took care of this person, and had and hire Rabbi Alexander Shulchan to be his sofer, to write his cameos, and then they would heal these people through their mystical means. And he began receiving all these people that would be coming to his house to ask him for healing, for spiritual healing. And so is the beginning of the Baal Shem Tov. After he does this, takes care of this dibuk, he becomes to be known first in Kitov and then in Tluste. And even though at the beginning he's living a very poor existence, he started to be revealed, to be known for who he was, as a Baal Shem. And thus the good Baal Shem Tov, the nickname that he takes, the Baal Shem Tov. That's the story for tonight. A gute Woche, Shavua Tov.